Good morning. It's time to plan the 2018 garden, so let's get with it. Alright, now I'm going to show you what I did. I wanted to do something simple and show you how to plan a garden, but at the same time do some record keeping and a couple of things that I found that can make your garden a little better. So here we go. This is what I did this year. I just went out and I bought an inexpensive notebook, just a cheapie. And I'm going to tilt the camera down so you can see it more and me a little less. Now, here it is. Now, over here, this is a list of plant families. So that tells you what vegetables are in what plant family. And you're going to use that because that's going to be helpful with rotation. When you move your stuff from bed to bed year to year, that you don't put some of the ones that tend to be a problem in the same place again. Now, all I did is I just Googled that. I Googled vegetable plant families, looked at 2 or 3 different posts until I finally found a nice table. And then I just pencil and paper, I just wrote it down. And I put it inside the flap here so that it's always there. Simple game. Now, here's the 2 plant families you really kind of have to watch. One of them is the brassicas, and that's because brassicas get pests like whiteflies, and they'll nest in the soil. So it's a good idea. Now, brassicas includes cabbage, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, and kale. Not guaranteeing that's everything, but that's most of it. So if you planted them in one corner of your garden last year, let's move them to a different corner this year. The same way with nightshade family. Now, nightshade family is tomatoes, potatoes, peppers, eggplants, and that sort of thing. Same deal. These things get blight, and if you get a little bit of blight, and you might even not know it, it might be at the end of the season and things just look a little stinky and wilty, but they're dying anyhow because they're done. Well, that will stay in the soil for a couple of years. So those items, kind of try to keep them together, move them around from spot to spot. Okay, real easy. The other reason you want to do this is to even the load on your garden soil. Okay? Because different plants take different levels of different nutrients. So if you always plant it in the same spot, well, it's hard to maintain, say, nitrogen enough for corn. So just move them around. And the idea of keeping a record and keeping it in a book is so that you can remember where it was last year, where it was the year before, where it was the year before that. Now, if I can manage to turn the page, here we go. Now this is pretty simple. I just drew, on your left you can see, that's just a real quick sketch of my garden. It's not 100% to scale. And I numbered the beds so that and areas in the beds, and then I came over here on the other page and I wrote the numbers down and wrote down what I was going to plant in that area. Okay, pretty easy. And then I left the bottom of that I'm trying to find it, it's not working out for me. Okay, I left the bottom of that page open for notes. All right, now that's going to be more as you garden through the year, or even at the end of the year, that you can jot down, this variety wasn't very good, or we didn't like it, or didn't grow very good, or I need more different trellising, or whatever it is, whatever note you want to keep, that you might forget, and it'd be handy to have it written down. So that's just a real simple way. Then next year you flip the page, you do it on another page. I just bought this at the dollar store. I spent like $2.50 for the notebook, some graph paper, and it worked out pretty handy because the graph paper was ruled on the back side like regular note paper. So when you flip the page, you got a place that's graph paper, make an easy sketch of your garden, and then on the other side it's all, lined paper, so it's easy to write down what you're going to plant in your notes. All right. Now, once you got that to suit yourself, here's a suggestion, something you might want to try. I believe every state, I know it was this case for Kansas, but I believe every state's probably like this. There's somewhere that there's a state university that has some kind of an agriculture department. And they probably publish a list of what's the best varieties of different vegetables to plant in your area. I didn't have any problem finding this on the internet. Just Googled it, boom, here it comes. Easy. So I just wrote some of those down. Now, use your head. Think about it. Those are going to be good varieties, and it's going to make your garden easier to run. But don't be a slave to it, because no one seed dealer is going to carry each one of those just exact varieties that you found on that list. So if you make yourself a slave to it, you're going to end up ordering from 6 different places to just have 8 or 10 different packets of seeds. And the shipping's going to be stupid compared to the price of all your seeds. So use your head. Some things just grow good in your area anyway. Green beans in my area just do great. Corn does pretty good. So if the seed dealer I like to use doesn't have those varieties, I can probably find one that's going to do fine. And you can always use some experience. If I've planted Rutgers tomatoes for years and they've always done okay, and they don't have the tomato that the state suggests, I'm okay going with Rutgers. But if there's something that doesn't particularly grow well in my state, like say in Kansas, carrots aren't real successful. The soil's kind of heavy. So I might hunt up the variety they suggest. Or something I haven't planted before, like, I don't know, let's say you'd never planted beets. Well, you want to get one that's easier to grow for yourself. So that's just a suggestion. I hope you're having a good day. It's too cold outside to do anything, but it's not too cold to get on the internet, get out a seed catalog, and get some of that planting done. Oh, and I'm going to throw in as the last couple of little quick things, the reason that I went out and bought a notebook this year. I have always used Legal Pad. And I had a Legal Pad sitting on my workbench that had 3 or 4 years worth of garden records in it. Well, I went to get it this spring and it was gone. Don't know, grandchildren, wife, don't know what happened, but it's gone. So I thought maybe putting it in a notebook might be a little nicer, a little easier, and a little easier to keep people out of and keep track of. Also, just an apology, last week's video didn't come out very professional, and I'm not guaranteeing this week's. I've had to buy a new computer and a new editing program. because YouTube dropped theirs. So it's taken me a little bit to get up to speed, and I hope it's not too much inconvenience. Well, all right. You have a quality day.